Okay, how are you? Let's continue our cardiovascular system. So what we have learned is basically everything you need to know. Um, from now on, it's just an extension or application or implication in um, in in some clinical setting. All right, so we know that uh, what we learned. So what we have learned, we basically learned the action potential of the heart. So that's the first thing. And second thing is that we know that the entire chamber contracts together. They generate that action potential altogether. And so they contract together. And third thing is that, okay, you have, so basically you have the whole heart and you can consider them as four different individual chambers. And so they have their connections and each one will contract individually, all right? And they are coordinated by the conduction system, like this one here. Let me show you here. The conduction system, SA node to both left and right atrium, and the AV node to both left and right ventricle. So you have, even though they are individually contracting independently, but they are coordinated by the conduction system. So left and right atrium contracts together, followed by left and right ventricle contracts together. You can't see those in the quiz question though. The contraction sequence. Yeah. So that is it's different from the flow. The flow is right atrium, right ventricle, go to pulmonary, left atrium, left ventricle, go to the systemic, going back, right atrium. Yeah. So that's that cycle. All right. So that's everything you know. And we would like to extend it to EKG. We're gonna do these in our lab, EKG. So this is a good lecture that you watch before you do the lab. And also we have exam, we have a quiz on it, right? Yeah, so it's good to know. So let's explain what is this EKG and how do we use it to know about our heart. Yeah, so that's what we are going to do. So basically here is the EKG. So we will do this one in the lab. You will put electrode. Um, the very simple version of the EKG is you have three electrode. That's the most simplest one. So you have a right arm, left arm, and the left leg. So that's that. But usually we have four: left arm, left leg, right leg. With the other leg, we have a common ground. So without this one, we basically will use these electrode as the ground, but that's not common ground. So don't worry about these technical details. What you need to know, what you need to know is that okay, we have the electrode. What is exactly that electrode do, right? So basically, it will pick up very small electric signal. Yes, electric signal goes through your skin. All right. So this signal got to be very strong. Have you ever know that you have electric signal from your skin? It's like you touch something, get shocked. No, 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 not that. All right. Basically, that we have very tiny electric signal. We can pick up this electric signal through our body. Um, the strongest one will be the EKG. You probably also do in other hospital lab. You can measure muscle electric signal. We talk about the muscle contraction, muscle electric signal. That one is also pretty strong. And the other one would be EEG, the brain wave. That's very tiny. That's very weak. But people do that. You know, you can put electrode in the on the skull, and then measure the EEG. People use it to monitor the epilepsy. Yeah, so the seizure. Yeah, so we can pick up different electric signal in our body. The strongest one of all is the ECG. So this one is, when the signal is very small, you got to have advanced electrode amplifier and signal processing hardware in order to analyze those signals. But for those, but for the ECG, we actually have this technique in the very early time of our in recent year, but before we have any like other like EEG system. All right, so that's that. So did we have the electrode? We put it in on our body. It pick up the electric signal. Then what does it really mean for the heart? So let me draw you here. I prepared a slide that is empty, so I can draw something on it. Yeah, so that's this one here. Let me get it. Let me get it. I think it's on. Yeah. So let's say that this is your heart, right? So you have a right atrium. All right, nice. And left atrium, right? And then right ventricle, right? And then left ventricle, right? Nice, right? Yeah, so that's that. That's your heart. And of course, you have what's that here? So blood coming in. Not a whole thing. All right, anyway. Yeah, just do it here. Not the whole thing, man. All right, let's do it again. All right, so that's that. All right, so that's that. All right, that's that. All right, so that's that. So your heart is all good. All right, so and then you have the conduction system. So let me use a different color. Maybe that is black. All right, so conduction system from the SA node to both left and right. Right, so here, this is the SA node. So this one will generate impulse. I can use a different color. Generate impulse right here. So it generates impulse. This action potential travel to left and right atrium. When it travel to the left and right atrium will generate its own action potential. So let's say that if this is time, right? If this time, all right, let's make time very long. Each time, then this is say in the very beginning you have one impulse. This is SA node. Impulse, action potential generated. It will travel to both left and right atrium. So left and right atrium would say this is time, x-axis is time, y-axis is the memory potential, so millivolt. So the left and right atrium will generate action potential. So that's that. Let's use blue one. How about that? So that's blue one. So here it will generate action potential like that. Yeah. So left and right will generate action potential. And then it close, right? And then the signal from the SA node will transmit to the AV node right here. So this is the AV node. It will then send signal to both left and right ventricle. So both left and right ventricle will generate another action potential. So I can use another color like this one here. I think that's the one, right? Okay, so this one. I can use different color. Yeah, so that's that one. So here is the ventricular, right? And then resting, and then resting. And then you have the SA to trigger it again, SA to send out the signal again, to send out a signal to both left and right atrium. And then you will have the action potential of the atrium followed by the action potential of the ventricle. And then resting. And then same thing over again, atrium potential, atrium action potential, and then ventricular action potential. Something like that, right? So this thing is repeating. We didn't really specify to talk about the cardiac cycle. But in the general concept of this cardiac cycle would be each cycle you have initiated by the SA node, you have the atrium. So let me write it here. So you have the atrium. So here is the atrium contraction. Why is that lighter? Right, maybe that's this one. You will have that atrium contraction, atrium action potential, and during this time, atrium contraction. So mechanical process of this pump will be atrium contraction and followed by ventricular contraction. So atrium contraction, both left and right. So this is left and right. Atrium contraction followed by the ventricular contraction, left and right. And then resting. And then SA node, atrium contraction, ventricular contraction, resting. So this is basic idea about the cardiac cycle. So that's that. All right. So this is everything you already know. Then what we are going to extend from here will be that now when you have, let's say here, when you have the atrium, so say resting. So during the resting time, there is no voltage change, right? So everything is peaceful, nothing change. But when SA send out signal to the atrium will generate action potential. And you need to know that these atrium is not just one cell. Atrium has multiple cells. So it's very much like one cell will generate that action potential, but you have millions of these heart cells generating that action potential all together. So this is the collective force, collective influence gonna be huge. So when each cells generate action potential, generate this depolarization, it change its own membrane potential. It change it. So it changed from negative, so this is negative 70-ish millivolt, and this is about 0. So it changed from the negative 70 to 0. If it's just one cell, the signal is very, very small, but it's millions of cells change their memory potential. Change that. So it's very much like you are, if you just drop, like this is a pen, right? Let me get a pen here. Right, can you see my pen here? So if you drop it, right, it won't make any ripple wave or anything. You drop it, you know it, but the people like miles away, they will not detect it. They will not feel anything about it, right? You just drop a pencil or pen, right? People miles away, they will not detect it. But you think about the Earth, right? If there is a piece of the Earth land slide or move, it's not just one, but it's not just one dirt. It's like millions of dirt all move together. It cannot generate a rippling wave, and it can be detected by miles away, right? Like earthquake. The epicenter of the earthquake is not in your neighborhood, but it's miles away. But that movement will generate a rippling force, rippling wave, and it can be picked up, and you can feel it, right? You can feel that earthquake. It's like a little ant step on the ground, nothing will happen. But think about that millions of ants synchronously step on the ground, and that will generate rippling wave. So this is what's happening here. So when it's, so let's go back to here. So when all of these cells, atrial cells, change their memory potential. They change it during this time. During this time, it's gonna generate a rippling wave. So let's go back to here. So here is your body, right? So here is your body. Let me see that. Here. Here is your body. That's this one. Do I need to do that? I hope that work. I don't know. Let me see that. All right. So let's try that. So here is your body, right? So this is your neck, and this is your arm, right? Right, something like that, right? So when this one, it will propagate and go to your skin and get picked up. So this one, these change from here to here, that change, huge change. Single cell, the change is small, but you have collective change. So these will generate rippling wave and get picked up from your skin. So your skin here, you can see a signal. So this one will cause, let's draw here. So it will cause in your skin. In your skin, you will detect a signal here. This one. You will detect a signal like that. How about that? Yeah, much better, huh? Let me clear this one. Why is that? Yeah, nice, right? Maybe it's thicker. All right, let's do this one here. So this one here, all right. So this change will causing a rippling wave and to pick up by your skin like that. How about that? All right, good. That's good. All right, so that's that. And then you feel earthquake, right? There is a sudden drop further away from the atrial depolarization. You feel it, the earthquake. And what would you do with the earthquake? You will do nothing, right? You will just sit there. And you are thinking that, is there a second one? Or you are thinking like, is that a real one? Right? So you wait. And so you wait. And really nothing happened because, nothing happened. But just like about 0.2 seconds later, you have a repolarization. And this time you have a stronger one coming because you have the ventricle. Ventricle is about 5 times the size of the atrium. So now in the atrium, you have a million cells generate that depolarization. But now you have the millions of cells doing it again, and also 5 millions, 5 times more cells to change their memory potential. So you have a mixture of these repolarization and a stronger ventricular depolarization. So with this one, you feel it again because they all change it. So you feel it again. But now with this repolarization and depolarization, you have something called complex. So you pick it up your skin. So here is your skin electrode. You pick up another very strong signal like that. So here is this one here. You pick it up. And then you do feel something now because now you ventricle is a much bigger organ. So it generates a stronger signal. I don't have the space. Let me just erase that one so I can really show you how big. Yeah, nice. So yeah, nice. All right, so let me show you. So here is that this electrode, this signal. Where is it? This signal gonna be much stronger. Like that, like that, like that, like that, like that. So very strong, very strong. Also very sharp. Sometimes pretty sharp. Something like that. All right, how about that? Very ugly. All right, enjoy better. Hey, pay attention. Shh, like that. Yes. So this portion will generate this wave to pick up in your skin electrode. And then nothing happens, stable, and then repolarization. This repolarization will generate another earthquake and to pick it up by your skin. So something like that here. Let me just pointing down here. It will be something like that. This, okay. Yeah. So that's that. So each time your skin will pick up 3 waves. So this one is called P wave. This one is called Q, R, S. We call it QRS complex. And this is T. So it's PQRST, right? So that's that. And then you can imagine that here again, you will have another one. What's that? It will be P. How about this? You will have QRS, and here you have T. So that's that. You have one in your skin. We cannot measure the action potential of the heart. It's in the heart. You cannot measure that cell membrane potential change. But what you can do is you can measure skin, right? It's safe to have an electrode to put on the skin to pick up the signal. And from there, you will pick up something like this: PQRST, PQRST, PQRST. Is that good? All right. So what do we get it from here? What we get it from here is that we have something um, to use to understand your heart's function. What kind of heart function you can see here? So basically, you can see how fast your heart is beating. So you can see R is the strongest signal. So R interval will give you the idea about how fast. If this pump faster, so the R duration will get shorter. But if it's pump slower, R duration will get longer, right? And also that yeah, so several things you can measure from heart. In this lecture, you need to knowing this. What you want to know? What's the quiz question? The quiz question will be to correlate. So we call this ECG, or sometimes we call it EKG. In the old time, we call it EKG. It's just cardio. In Germany, it's K something, but in English, cardio start with C. So ECG or EKG. So the quiz question will be that um, what was the relationship of ECG waves associated with the action potential of the heart? And the answer to that is that P wave is an atrial what? Depolarization. P wave is associated with the atrial depolarization. QRS is associated with ventricular depolarization. You may say that, oh, it has atrial repolarization and the ventricular depolarization. However, ventricle is 5 times larger than the atrium. Besides, this depolarization usually is sharper than the repolarization. So this change is the dominant force to generate this QRS complex. So what's the QRS? QRS is associated with the primary ventricular depolarization. And the T wave is associated with this one here. What's this one? It's a ventricular repolarization. And that is why we have this lecture. We first talk about the membrane potential, action potential, because those are the foundation. And I hope by now you should be very familiar with this depolarization and the repolarization phase of the action potential. So that's that. So that's what you need to know. All right, is that good? All right, let's move on to the next slide. I need to clean it. Clear, clear. All right. So sad. Don't worry. All right, here we go. So that's that. So here is the summary of what we talk about. That the EKG or ECG, you have P wave, QRS, and the T. So P is a depolarization of atrium. And so when atrium depolarize, before ventricular depolarization, this duration is atrial constriction. So this is time when atrial contracts. And then you have the QRS. QRS is caused by the ventricular depolarization. And then you have when it depolarizes, it's plateau. And during that plateau, you have the ventricular contraction. And then you have T wave. T wave is a repolarization of the ventricle. So that's that. And you can see that R is the strongest signal because ventricle is larger, depolarization is very sharp. So that's that. All right. You can also see the time. PR interval is the duration between the atrial depolarization and the ventricular depolarization. So it's about like 0.2 seconds. This is usually considered like a standard. If it's too long, it means the conduction has some problem. We call it a heart block. Don't worry too much detail, but the conduction is maintained. So we usually measure the PR interval, and also we can use QT segment or ST segment right here. ST segment. ST is where? ST is about ventricle. So this is a common indicator of ventricular dysfunction. Ventricular is a driving force for heart, for blood to get squeezed out, right? So here, let me show you here. So ventricle, here is the ventricle. So this is the ventricle, this is ventricle. Right ventricle squeezes blood into the pulmonary system. Left ventricle squeezes blood into the systemic circulation. Yeah, so if the ventricle fail, then blood cannot go out. And so you have a heart failure. And that's the ST segment is a very commonly used indicator for heart muscle disease. It's called uh, myocardial infarction. Yeah, so heart disease basically. All right, so that's that. That's the ECG. All right, and it's about that's everything about the heart. Uh, there are two equations that we will talk about in the heart. This is the first equation. This is called this is the relationship between the cardiac output, stroke volume, and heart rate. So basically, that the heart, as you see here, heart will pump. Heart will pump, right? Squeeze and pump. So you have the heart rate, and each time when heart squeeze, it can squeeze. We can depending on your sympathetic or your exercise, etc. Your heart can contract a lot or contract not so much. So each time when heart squeeze the blood out, particularly the left ventricle, when left ventricle squeeze blood out into the systemic circulation, each time when it squeeze the blood out, the amount of the blood gets squeezed out is called stroke volume. So it's right here, stroke volume. And the cardiac output is the heart rate times stroke volume. So that's that. So that's this equation. Yeah, so you can increase your heart rate, pump faster, or you can increase the stroke volume, squeeze stronger, and collective effects will be more cardiac output. Yeah. All right. So this equation. So quiz will be, what's the relationship between CO, cardiac output, heart rate, HR, and the stroke volume? And the answer will be CO equal heart rate times stroke volume. There's another very important but very simple concept, which is called Frank-Starling mechanism. Frank-Starling mechanism, what does it mean? It means that now we talk about the stroke volume, right? What control it? What control that stroke volume? The thing to control the stroke volume is the venous return. So when you have more blood to fill the bag, you will have stronger stroke volume. So the more you feel it, the more you can squeeze it out. And this may sound very simple, like these, like now, right? You have a bottle of water, and you will say that how much I can pour to drink, depending on how much you feel it, right? The more you feel it, the more you can drink it, right? So that concept is very simple. So the more venous return, what does it mean by venous return? Venous return is that vein, blood will come into the vein, into the heart. So the more you have the venous return, the stronger, the larger stroke volume you will have. Each time the blood can get squeezed out from the heart. This may seem very simple concept, but it has a very very widely very wide implication for managing cardiovascular system. It's because that when, for example, when you have people like running marathon or like do exercise or something like that, and after running, the people may have may feel dizzy, may feel low blood pressure. Basically, blood pressure is low, so it doesn't have enough blood going to the brain, so blood pressure will be low. There are several reasons for that. One is that the person sweat a lot, so the body doesn't have enough fluid. So when the fluid level is low, it's right here. So when you have low blood fluid, you have less blood going to the heart. When you have less blood going to the heart, heart has less venous return. So heart doesn't have enough blood to squeeze out, so stroke volume will be low. So that's this one, Frank-Starling mechanism. And how do you improve it? So you basically will try to increase venous return. You need to increase the fluid in the body or fluid back to the heart. Several things you can do, drink some fluid to increase the fluid in the body. So people drink water is important after exercise or during the exercise is important. So you can reduce the stress of the heart. Heart doesn't have to pump faster to keep up with the pressure because now you provide enough fluid for it to pump. Another thing that you can do is that you can have people to walk for a while, walking, because when you walk, you squeeze the muscle, and so you squeeze the muscle, and that will help the venous return. Blood will go back to the heart. And the worst scenario is that, okay, all of those are not good enough. Then you can have the person laying down and raise up the leg. So if laying down, raise up the leg, all the blood will going down and going to the heart. So you increase the venous return. And so those are several things could be helpful. Quiz question can be that which of following describe the Frank-Starling mechanism? The answer will be more venous return, more stroke volume. All right. So that's that. I hope that's helpful. All right. The next one is the blood vessel. Let's take a pause, take a break, and then we come back to this one.